You know. They're in the room. Yeah, exactly.
Diego? They called us as we were running out the exit out back.
Okay, so gentlemen, what is Skyline, and what are we about to take a look at?
Skyline's basically an idea that hatched while us and two of our creative partners, Liam and Josh, we were at lunch one day and we were, basically kind of just lamenting the difficulty of getting movies started these days. So, and Paranormal Activity had just come out, and we were like, you know what? If that guy can shoot a movie in his house, we own a bunch of cinema cameras. I was like thinking, why don't we shoot a movie in my house? And it might sound kind of like a joke at first, but quite seriously, that's exactly what we did.
Well, let's take a look at the trailer. This is a special piece prepared just for you guys, and you're the first ones to see it anywhere.
Including the studio hasn't seen it yet either. Yeah, you guys are the first. Brittany Downs. And David Zayas. What is really good? Aloha! Wow.
Hello.
Oh, there are Hershey's Kisses.
I know.
Well, my first observation is if that was all shot in your house, you have a big house. No, let's talk about the what you guys have done, because this is all in-house. This is you guys own.
His movie, this what we shot on this, requires a fraction of the lighting. When you have the fraction of the lighting, it means you don't have to have big crews, which means you can do things way more efficiently. I think what Colin's getting at is it allows us to take risk and embrace risky ideas, because the risky ideas are the cool ideas. I think that's the ideas that the fans respond to the most. And we're able to take those risks because you're working at an independent movie scale where you're not going to sink. If you mess up, you're not going to put $150 million to sleep. So having that kind of freedom also means that we get to play around with cooler ideas. And those risky ideas are the ones that could turn into big visual ideas on screen. Yeah, we want big ass King Kong-sized creatures beating the crap out of stuff. We can do that.
It also means that they could hang me and Scotty off of wires over their building without anybody saying no. There was no way to stop. Look, they built this rigging system on the top of their roof of their building, and we're all looking at it. I remember my manager showing up one day going, "Is this safe?" I'm like, nobody to stop them. But it is amazing that there were 5 people on set who made decisions, and that was it. And it was an amazing process, because anytime any of us had a question or needed clarification, there was only Greg, Colin, Christian, the producer, and Liam and Josh, the writers, and that was it. There was no deliberation. There was no.
And one of our writers, Josh, is also the second unit director on the movie. He's one of our cameramen, and he's animation supervisor. So I mean, it's all in the family. And it also made it really efficient to shoot, because when we're blocking out shots with the creatures and that, it's like when your writer is the guy also sitting next to you holding one of the cameras. He knows how big the thing is. He knows what it's supposed to do. He knows why he's pointing the camera up at a big empty sky, because there's going to be some gonzo stuff thrown in there, a couple months from now. So it just made the whole process way more interesting, and it just made it a lot more fun.
And also, the thing about it is that they know exactly. Colin and Greg know exactly, especially when you're acting, what exactly they're going to see when the final product comes around. So their articulation as to how they wanted you to move, which way they wanted you to move, was so clear, because they're the ones that are doing it. And it was just a very, it was difficult, but it was an easy way to work, because they were able to articulate exactly what they wanted, because there's nothing there when we're shooting it, and that made it so much. It's just a pleasurable experience.
Yeah, they had a lot of
approvals, and you have to go through this song and dance. You guys really got to pick the people you wanted to work with without having to run that by anybody else. Now, as a result, you've got you as an action hero in this movie, which is great, and not something you would get to do necessarily in a studio film. So can you talk about what it was that you guys, as you started the casting process, were looking for?
That was probably one of the funnest parts, was that we got You know, because normally, again, like when you do these things, some of the stuff you guys never get to see is you hear like, oh, that guy's too TV, that guy's too this guy, you know, and like, and it really, you have to get casting past like 15 people sometimes, and it becomes a bit, you know, and then there's also, we don't like that guy who's a lawyer, so we're not going to work with him, and there's all these weird politics that happen that really limit the way movies run, and when we were setting this up with you know, Christian, Liam, and Josh, we're like, okay, we don't have anything, it's just literally us, like, you know, and we,
well,
you know, we need to
it gets even more depressing than that, though. In a way, I don't know if many of you guys are clued in. It'll be like, well, you're going to finance the movie off foreign sales. Here's your 7 guys who will actually, you know, generate income overseas. And you look at that list and you're like, oh my God, no. And then you're like, so you don't like anyone on that list? Too bad, you don't get to make your movie then. So you end up with the guns put up to your head sometimes in that. And I think what was very interesting, we managed to flip that process, and we didn't have to, you know, we didn't start with any list. We had to open it up and, you know, and just kind of bring in and find the people that we wanted to work with. So.